Hi again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Around the Town with Chuck. My name is Chuck Guglielmo. It's a weekly interview show where we talk with interesting people around the community, and we're taping the show on Monday, November the 6th. And my guest today is coach of the girls' varsity basketball team, Tony Pasanen, also an assistant coach on the Conneaut Spartan football team. Tony, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Tony has been here a few times before. Tony, just a little bit in review. You've been a teacher in Conneaut now for how many years?
This is my 17th year.
17 years in Conneaut already, and as a teacher, and how about as a coach? How many years total?
I've been coaching ever since I was there, so 17 years. Yeah.
Wow. Was Conneaut was the Conneaut School District your first teaching job?
Yes, it was.
And coaching, obviously.
Well, it was kind of funny because I had an interview set up at Grand Valley. I just assumed I'd be hired in Ashtabula, being from Ashtabula. And apparently my mom wanted me out of the house as soon as possible, so I got a phone call from Conneaut, and I didn't even apply at Conneaut. My mom did.
17 years. So you teach at the middle school?
Yeah, this year I'm actually I'm half the day at the middle school and teaching algebra, and then I'm half the day at the high school teaching algebra.
Okay, so like Rocco, you're in the math field.
Yep.
And at the middle school, you have 6th, 7th, and 8th?
Just 8th graders.
Just 8th graders.
Yeah, algebra 1.
Mm-hmm. And what's it like teaching the middle schoolers and then you go to the high school?
It's actually the middle school is really nice because there I've got the top students. So we're able to do a lot more things, go at a faster pace. Where the high school, I'm teaching more of a, remedial, level. So I like the maturity of, being with around the high school kids. But I also like, being able to do more challenging things with the 8th grade students.
Mm-hmm. And of course, you're working for two excellent bosses in Jimmy Kennedy and Timmy Neal.
Yeah, they're great guys.
Mm-hmm.
They've done, both of them have been very positive and, promoting our schools, promoting our students, and that's a lot of fun to be a part of.
Mm-hmm. Tony, before we get into basketball, just a little quick football thing. We had Rocco Dobrin in on the show, and we were talking about the game against Oil City. He said, you called those two great plays for Smile to hook up with Nathan Lauer. He wasn't going to do it.
Yeah,
he says, all right, we'll go with it.
Well, that's the beauty of Rock, and that's one of the reasons why we all love coaching with him and for him. I wish I could spend more time. I think at this point in my life with my kids, at the ages they're at, I definitely want to get back to coaching with him, full time. But coaching with him, he's not. We joke around about this all the time because it seems like most head football coaches are egomaniacs, and that's not Rocco at all. He's not that way, yeah. And he'll listen to you. And it was, one of those things. I just try to, I'll stand back and watch, and it was something I noticed, and I know he was like, "There's no way it can work again," but I'm like, they have not even come close to stopping it. So,
What did you think of this year's Conneaut football team?
I thought, they came a long way, and I think there are certain things. And it was kind of a different perspective for me this year because I wasn't around it every day. I'd be there, a couple times a week, but I just saw a lot of growth, especially from, sophomores. There was, if you talk about beginning of August until the end of the season, the growth and maturity, physically and mentally that occurred with those sophomores was huge, and I think that's another, tribute to Rocco because a sophomore quarterback, there's a lot on your plate when you're out there, and I just think Rocco does a great job of, coaching him up when he has to, being hard on him occasionally when he has to, but really just teaching him and motivating him.
A sophomore quarterback in Brandon Smile, and I was looking. He had some tough shoes to fill, of course, with Tyson Hunt, and what I was looking for and seeing him was progress, and he showed progress every week after the first week.
Yeah, and that's to me, and that's whether it's teaching or coaching. I mean, if your kids are showing progress and you're doing your job, and it wasn't just Brandon, it was Rylan also played some quarterback, but played key role on defense as well, and a lot of sophomores really had to step up this year.
Mm-hmm. How about for you, Tony? Now, when the football season ends, do you have any time before you have to start kicking it into basketball?
Yeah, and that's why this year I wasn't full time with football, and that's part of the reason why I just didn't have. I just haven't had time. My daughters now got one that's a freshman, one that's in 7th grade, and then a 5-year-old son. And on top of that, started my own business in the summer doing construction and stuff. So it's just,
Oh, I didn't know
yeah,
that.
so it's been just too much. And so I was able to do, open gyms in the falls with the basketball girls and put them through workouts for any girl that wasn't in a fall sport.
Now let's talk a little bit about your girls basketball team. I know I've got high expectations. I'm sure you have high expectations. It's almost like a veteran team now. But before we talk about this year's team, do you think last year's team, which finished 8-15, was a little bit disappointing to you as far as the record went?
No, because of the schedule and that the teams we had to play. I mean, it's just I'd love to pump. I'd love and Mercyhurst. I'd love to tell my girls that they can go in there and beat Villa Maria, but I mean, at some point, common sense got to kick in because they're not stupid. They're and really that whole District 10 in terms of basketball is really good with, not just Villa Maria and Mercyhurst, but also you got Northwestern, Fairview, Seneca, Northeast. Those are all real good teams. So
They're all basketball schools too.
oh, it is. It's fun. It's a different atmosphere over there. It's really more.
Well.
It is. It's a basketball area for some reason. But
Yeah, more so than football, huh?
right. Yeah.
About last year's team, again, you did win 3 of your first 4 games. You finished strong, winning 2 of your last 3. Was that 6-game losing streak there, kind of like in the middle of the season? What do you tell your team after they lose 6 in a row to turn it around? What is it you can say to them?
You just got to stay positive, and you got to keep trying to learn. And sometimes it means even as far as things we do in practice, trying to make things a little bit more fun. I always tell my girls basketball is such a long season, and it can be a grind, especially in the coldest, darkest months of the year, so you don't want them getting down, you don't want any negativity, and that was the beauty of last year's team. The 4 seniors that we had that graduated, just great leaders, but I'm really excited about, the talent we have now returning.
Yeah, I think the expectations are going to be high for your ball club. So you're in practicing right now?
Yeah, this is actually started the second week now.
Second week of practice, and when do you start scrimmage games?
We already had one on Saturday. We scrimmaged at Mass and did really well. So, so we're pretty excited with that.
And then you have more scrimmages coming up?
Yeah, this Saturday we're at West Geauga. We also scrimmage Geneva on the 14th at Geneva. We scrimmage Jefferson at home on the 17th, and we scrimmage Harvey at home on the 21st, I believe.
So a lot of local teams on your scrimmage. You start your season the day after Thanksgiving against the Lakeside Dragons, a rivalry game. That'll be in Lakeside, a team that you opened up with a victory against last year. You know anything about Lakeside this year?
No, not yet.
They have a new coach?
I think Bill Isco, as far as I know, is still coaching there. I haven't heard anything else. I know they lost a big-time player in Carly Aponte, but as far as this year, no, I haven't. I didn't see them at all when we went to any of the summer stuff, shootouts or camps. So,
What do you look for from your team during practices? What are you looking at?
one thing that our biggest focus this year that we've come in is conditioning. Number one, being able to close out games, but we're trying to make things more, chaotic in practice as far as So if they can handle pressure in practice, then it'll carry over to the game. That's been our Achilles heel is, being able to handle teams' press and that type of stuff. And knock on wood, we did really well on Saturday against it. But that's going to be the key. We've got decent size. We've got, some decent athletes. But it's going to ultimately come down to us taking care of the ball. So that's a big part of our focus in practice.
Yeah, taking care of the ball, limiting those turnovers, and stopping the other team from getting second shots.
Right, and that's what we want. We want to be more in transition. So rebounding is also a pretty big focus right now in practice.
Mm-hmm. And like you say, you have those big girls up front there that can get that rebounding done. The 3-point shot. Now, that's been in existence for quite a while now.
Yeah.
Do you think that's what this game is becoming, even in girls basketball?
Well, there's a kind of a philosophy that you either want layups or 3-pointers because that mid-range jumper is kind of a thing of the past. And I definitely see it. If you look around, and there's even in the college game, you watch the college women's play. It's the skills. The ability to shoot is becoming unreal. So, yeah, I definitely have seen our game transition in that way.
When you look at your team so far, and I know it's early, what's ahead, the offense or the defense right now?
I honestly would have guessed, defense, but after our scrimmage on Saturday, I was really impressed with us offensively. I thought we did a great job getting out in transition. Our guard play was Hannah Clark, Lydia Mazzocco, KJ Haas, and we're playing Sam Sam, she's hurt, so we're hoping to get her back. I mean, we don't know, she hurt her knee in practice last week, so we're hoping it's not a season thing.
Yeah. Talking about the knee, you always worry.
But two key sophomores for us this year is Annalie Hagstrom and Savannah Sanford, and we have them playing, guard as well, which makes us.
And Savannah's pretty tall.
Yeah, so I mean, if she can play guard, and we also go with our posts that we have, we can put a pretty big team out there.
Talk a little bit about your coaching staff. I know you have Timmy Kennedy there as the junior varsity coach, a fiery type coach.
Hey, Tim's great. I mean, the
He
girls.
is great.
Well, and here's the thing, and the girls absolutely love him. I mean, we were just talking about this the other day in practice. Tim works. He's a chemical engineer at Crystal, so he's around grown men all day and stresses of that job. And you could tell when he gets in that gym, he just loves it. And there was a point in practice where the JV scored on varsity, and he just gets so pumped up. I mean, he's celebrating, and that gets the girls going. They feed off of his enthusiasm.
Yeah. Your coaching staff, of course, you also have Mike Olmstead. Now, he's the complete opposite. I mean, they're both great guys, great coaches, but the complete opposite as far as fiery than Tim Kennedy. Although I don't know what he's like in practice.
No, Mike's Mike, and I think that's kind of the beauty of our staff and why we've worked so well together, and why the girls have improved so much over the years is because there's three different messages, and three different styles of message, in a lot of ways, and Mike will be able to get through girls sometimes that maybe I can or Tim can or vice versa. So it's really a good balance, I think.
Yeah, you got a lot of great basketball knowledge on that coaching staff. Another coach I see is this new Kayla Brennan.
She's been a volunteer basis, and that's exciting for me. Is we've got now girls that I coached years ago, now coming back and helping. I mean, just went to Kayla's wedding, a few weeks ago, which was exciting. These girls that I've gotten to watch grow up since middle school. And Lydia Casito's another one. She's our 8th grade coach at the middle school, and I wanted to have younger female role models for these girls, and you can't get much better than having Kayla there or Lydia there.
Mm-hmm. With your busy schedule with the girls basketball team, are you able to catch any of the middle school girls to see what you got coming up?
Yeah, I try to go as much as I can. Well, my daughter's 7th grade, she'll be playing, so whenever. Sometimes, if it works out that way, Coach, me and Coach Tallback will communicate, and maybe we'll switch a practice so I can, get done and get there to watch them. So it's important for me to be there to support them, the team, but also, my daughter and the coaches. I want to be there for the coaches too.
Sure. Looking at some of the games on your schedule, I won't go over the whole thing, but a big rivalry game here, and has been for years, is the Pymatuning Valley Lakers, and you got, I think that's your home opener. Yeah, it's your home opener on the 30th of November. Always a classic game with the Compan still down there?
Yeah, he's still there, and it was last year. We played a real good first half and had a pretty good lead at halftime, and then second half they made a run, and it really became a good game right down to the end. Mm-hmm. And luckily we beat them.
Tony, how much fun is it? And you got him here twice, I think, maybe even 3 times, twice. St. John Herald. How much fun is it to go up against Nick Irochi, the coach? I know you're related to him.
Yeah, it's more fun watching him on film the next day because sometimes I'm concentrating in the game, so I don't get to watch all the theatrics. But it's hilarious.
If you don't like that guy, you don't like anybody.
Oh, I know, it's funny. I mean,
we had him on the show here.
Nick's a great guy, and I'll talk about this in a second, but it's funny when I'm showing my team film of St. John. I'm trying to be serious and show them things that they're doing, and they can't stop laughing watching their coach, stomp up and down the sideline. But
when we had him on the show, he said there was a time there where he had an edge on you, but now you've taken over and pulled pretty good ahead of him.
Oh yeah, that's been Yeah, for a while now, but I'll tell you, he's doing a good job. They've got some nice young players.
Yeah.
So this year is going to should be some decent battles.
Didn't he have a Player of the Year or something last year?
Yeah, that's a
Madison?
Parody. Madison
Yeah.
Parody. She's going to be a senior, and then I really like two of their freshmen they had last year that are going to be sophomores. So they got some talent there.
Yeah, it's always good going up against him, and you do have him twice, once there and once here during the holiday tournament.
Well, we actually have
Oh, you're playing them in Quicken Loans Arena?
Yeah, that's what. Well, as of now, it's scheduled that way, but we each have to sell.
Yeah, tell us about that.
We each have to sell 150 tickets, and we will play St. John at the Q on December 28th at 4 o'clock.
So that's really your home game.
I think that's their home game.
Okay, because it says here that.
Oh no, yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah, that's our home game, and then now it's a blackout game, so the Cavs don't actually play that night. But what happens is though we all get to go back on January 18th and watch the Cavs game. So it would be a really neat experience, for the girls, to be able to play on that court.
Oh,
but the
yeah.
key right now is we got to sell 150 tickets. So.
How did that come about? How did you two teams get selected?
Nick contacted me. He wanted. I know Edgewood and Grand Valley have done it, and he contacted me and wanted to know if I'd be interested, and definitely if we can do it. So I'm hoping we get all the tickets sold so it works out.
That's December the 28th. Hopefully you have good traveling weather.
Right.
That's another thing you always got to
That's
look
for sure.
for. That's a 4 o'clock afternoon game, I believe. Yep,
Yeah.
4 o'clock in the afternoon. So look forward to that. Also on your schedule, of course, you talked a little bit about Villa Maria. I'm assuming they've always been state bound, haven't they?
Oh yeah, I know especially over the last 5 years.
Is that a school that gets to recruit?
Oh yeah, and they've got, last year I think they had 3 of their 5 starters were going to get a Division I scholarship, and then a couple others were going to get Division II scholarships. So
What's your thoughts on that, Tony? These schools that can recruit players like this?
I just don't think it's fair, and really, in the end, what does it benefit them playing us, and what does it really benefit us playing them? I would rather see, you set up 3, there's 4 divisions, set up 3 of them that are all public and do one just private. I think the state tournament would be a lot more exciting because you'd have a lot more people there to support the teams.
Not on the schedule this year. A disappointment to my wife over there. Her alma mater, Iroquois.
Oh, you want to graduate from Iroquois?
Yeah, she
huh?
did. Yeah.
Yeah,
We've had a pretty good relationship with them over the years.
Yeah, and those guys are great guys, but they're really struggling right now. As far as our program
numbers.
goes. Yeah, and just talent. And,
So they don't have a team.
They're going to have a team, but they would rather play, I think, somebody a little bit more closer to their level.
And of course, the Northwestern game. That's almost can be like a rivalry now because of the closeness between the two teams.
Yeah, and I've gotten to know their coaches pretty well. They're great people, and we've played them in the summer. Whether it be at shootouts or we went to summer camp also. So we're starting to become a lot more familiar with those teams.
And another team you're closing out with, at least the regular season, you're closing out with always a rivalry here in Conneaut against the Edgewood Warriors at Edgewood, a program that's been down the last couple years. Do you see anything different about them this year?
No, again, kind of like Lakeside, I haven't seen them at all this summer. But based off of what they had coming back, I can't imagine them being too good this year. So.
Let's talk a little bit about the holiday tournament. Now, you guys have been hosting that for how many years?
We used to play in a holiday tournament in PA, and then when all the school districts combined there to form Cash, that kind of ended. So I want to say this has been now
5 years?
6 or 7 years. I think it's going to be our 6th or 7th year, I want to say.
It involves not only the Spartans, but Edgewood, Grand Valley, and St. John. So a chance there for the team, for the fans to come out and see some of the local teams that everybody's been screaming about.
Right.
That the locals aren't playing each other. So there's an opportunity. It's a 3-day event.
Well, it's 2 days.
2 days.
But this year, that's what it is because of the opportunity to play at the Q. We used to do it back-to-back days. Well, this year we're going to play. So we'll play on the 27th for our holiday tournament. The 28th we'll play St. John at the Q, and then on the 29th will be the.
You could be playing St. John back-to-back days.
Yeah, we could be.
Yeah. What's the attendance like for the holiday tournament?
It's pretty good,
For the other schools?
Yeah, and that's what we wanted. We wanted to get, local teams. So not only is it, good competition, but also, there's more people in the stands, supporting the girls.
You ever see that coming back again in any of the sports where the counties, schools are playing each other on a regular basis?
I don't, just because of the issues with football. You know, if
It's all around football.
yeah, if you take football out of the equation, I think it'd be probably be a done deal. But you know, because of the just competitive balance with football, it's too hard right now.
What's it like, Tony, though, traveling to, like, say, what's some of your further travel on a weeknight for basketball games? I know the football team goes to Oil City and Titusville, but they're not on your schedule, are they? Seneca, is that pretty far?
Yeah, you know, it's not too bad. I think Northeast was our furthest trip.
Okay, and that's
as far
about
as District
50
10.
minutes or so?
Yeah, a little bit over an hour once you get off.
Well, that's not too bad, then.
No, we really, you know, the travel, honestly, was not bad for us, you know, as far as playing in District 10, so.
Yeah. Football, it is farther, but it's also a Friday night. It's not
Right.
like it's on a school night. Let's look a little bit at your roster now. We talked about the three big girls, Emily Martin, Tully Taylor, and Peyton Walker. When I saw Tully play last year, that girl has improved tremendously, hasn't she?
She has, and she was probably one of the, you know, or not that we're surprised that she plays well, but the aggression she played with on Saturday at Madison, we were thrilled. You know, she looked like that type of player, that dominant post that, you know, who wants the ball, that wants to finish, and that's always been kind of the thing with Tully. She was too unselfish or too timid, so we really want her asserting herself, and we saw that the majority of the time on Saturday.
Mm-hmm. Two outstanding guards here, Lydia Mazzocco and Hannah Clark. Lydia came in last year. Hannah's the junior, and Lydia's going to be a sophomore, so you got them for a year, 2 more years. Talk about those girls.
A lot of pressure is going to fall on them because, like I said, the key to our success is taking care of the ball, and you know, so a lot of that onus is going to fall on those two, along with, you know, KJ and Sam. Hopefully, if she's healthy. So.
Why am I not knowing KJ? She's been with you, right?
Oh yeah.
Why am I not knowing her?
She's quiet. KJ she goes about her business. That's KJ.
Yeah, I can't. When I asked you for the roster and I saw her name on it, I thought, oh, we got a new player, and somebody else says she's not new.
Yeah, no.
She has been on the team.
She's been on the team.
Somehow I'm missing her. Savannah Sanford, you talk a little bit about her. Your daughter's on the team now this year as a freshman.
Yeah.
Allie.
Yeah, that's it's an interesting dynamic. I can tell you that.
How exciting would that be to be able to coach your daughter?
It would be a lot of fun. Yeah, and honestly, I left it up to her because, you know, my personality is, if she's even with somebody, I'm going to give the edge to that other person because I don't want there to ever be any.
I was going to ask that. Is it going to be tougher for you to coach her versus the other girls?
You know, I think it's going to be tougher on her than it's going to be tougher on me. You know?
And she knows that.
Yeah, she knows that.
I
and
talked
that's
to her about that at CCD last year, so she's already pretty much knows that is going to be the case.
And that also goes back to the trust I have in Tim and Mike. You know, they may. Cause there was a couple of times, you know, like Allie was, you know, I was getting on her about something, and Tim said, you know, he thought she was doing well. So,
go ahead.
No, I'm just saying it's. I think more of the pressure is on her than it is on me.
It's good to see that you got a lot of freshmen out on the team.
Yeah, and this whole group, we've been. You know, when Allie's start was in 3rd grade, the majority of these girls, we were going to tournaments, you know, and playing all spring. So a lot of parent support too out of that group. I mean, we've been together, you know, in hotels for tournaments since they were in 3rd grade. So, so it's definitely a great group of kids, and I know Tim's excited for the JV season.
Now, of course, the girls and the boys now have a fundraiser coming up here at the end of the month. Second year, I think you've combined it, the girls, boys, reverse raffle. Is this the second time?
I think third.
Third time.
I think. Yeah.
And does that work out well for you?
Yeah, it's a lot easier. Tickets? Yeah, because I mean it's a lot of work to put on something like that, and you know, you don't want to have to beg people to buy tickets. So this way, it's a lot easier to sell tickets. You know, there's a lot less of us having to harass people, you know, constantly about buying tickets, and so it's definitely been a win-win for both of us.
Are you finding it a little bit harder to sell this year since it's on a holiday weekend?
A little bit, you know, and it doesn't help that Michigan and Ohio State play that morning or that afternoon. So, but I mean, we have to go with, you know, the schedule the Legion has, and you know, they're always very generous to us, but that's pretty much all they had open that time of the year.
Okay, give me 3 keys to a successful season for your team. If you had to pick 3 top keys.
The keys this year going to be turnovers, rebounding, and then the thing that we're looking at this year is that we're going to closely evaluate is free throw percentage, because we think with our size that we're going to be able to get to the free throw line a lot more this year, and that's kind of the plan. So those were 3 things that we had written down, for the season that we wanted to really emphasize.
And how many games come down to, if I would have made this free throw
Well,
or that free throw?
It does.
It's really important. Well, Tony, I want to wish you the best of luck this year. Even though I found out that you were rooting for the Cubs over the Indians in the World Series.
Hey, I've been a Cubs fan since I was little.
Me that.
Laney's a big mouth.
But I want to wish you the best of luck.
Thank you very much.
We're looking forward to watching your team play.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Tony Pasanen, girls varsity basketball coach and assistant football coach here for the Conneaut Spartans, my guest today on Around the Town with Chuck.